In case you don't know, we are in Ecuador. We are outside of a small city called Cuenca, and we're about 2 hours outside of Cuenca. We're in a beautiful, beautiful venue, and I'll be starting in Ista tomorrow.
It's an eco resort.
This is my second time here. It's a
Fantastic.
fabulous place. The owner is, we're thinking about doing Extraordinary Lovers here at some point. He really wants us to do it.
An eco resort with gorgeous, lush landscape. That behind us is not a screenshot. Like that's actually what's behind us, right?
And then the Andes. The Andes are right behind all these
You've
big.
got the Andes running all alongside. So we're in the Andes. We're way up high.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
And so we're in Ecuador, we're practicing our Spanish. I'm doing pretty good.
You're doing really good.
He's handing them
My phone.
his phone to translate every 2 seconds, and I'm just talking. Two of the guests here, we were here New Year's Eve. I was dancing with everybody.
Oh, Happy New Year's, by the way.
Happy New Year to
2026.
And I was dancing with everyone in the place. And then they asked the owner of the venue for my number. They all want to know about this energetic yoga that I teach. So it's really fun. I can't speak English. I can't speak Spanish to them. So I don't know if I can coach them, but it was really nice. Really
Such a lovely time.
Yeah.
Yeah, New Year's Eve, they put on an incredible show. And the owner, his name is Wilson. He plays music. He's a speaker. He does all these things. And he's also an eco anarchist. Like he built this place out and he says it's a healing retreat center disguised as a hotel. Right. I'm like, I love this guy's heart. He's so just genuine.
Yeah.
Well, welcome everyone.
We hope that you had a really good New Year's time. And I'll just say I might be coughing on this call because we were in Japan before this and I love Japan. I had the best time there. It was very surprising and amazing and filled with new experiences. And I came home with a cough and I'm still coughing. So, yeah. All right. So we get to it.
Yeah, thank you for all the birthday wishes. And I want to say, because I'm really excited to see my son and my daughter-in-law on from Arizona. Wave at everybody. Come on in, Mick. Let's see your face. Getting close. We're dead ringers. Look at us. So good to see both of you. Happy New Year. Welcome to this new phase of life, I guess. This is the best way to put it. Very excited that you're all. We're going to get started because we honor your time. And really, this has become such an important part of our life to be able to speak into your life. And so we're looking forward to this. Let's get started, Lauren.
Well, I'm very excited that you're all here. And I want to acknowledge that being in love, whether you're in love with somebody right now in your life or whether it's an ongoing relationship, which many of you are, and if you're not, but you want to be in a relationship, it's an ongoing process. It's never just a plateau and that's it. You're going to keep learning new stuff about your person. They're going to keep learning new stuff about you. There's still going to be things that piss you off. There's still going to be things that are challenging. One of my friends said, we'll call you when we hit a bump. Well, you better expect that there are going to be bumps all along the way. There's never a time when there aren't bumps. Actually, maybe there's a lull in between it, smooth sailing, and then all of a sudden bumps again. So the problem is that we think that if we met the right one, that we're going to live happily ever after. And it's a challenging thing.
I wish it were true.
And no matter what. So that's what we're here to say. There's no shame about that. There's no guilt about that. We were set up. We were hoodwinked and bamboozled. We were led amok.
I'm not going to get to say more about that. So I'm excited about that. Anyway, welcome to How to Navigate Love's Challenges Without Spending Years in Therapy. That's a catchy tune, huh? The reason that we named it that was because one of the things that we see that happens with couples is they feel like they've got to be years in therapy. And what we found is that that's not so much the case. Learning how to relate to one another. And so we're going to share some of that with you. But first, I don't know if you all know who we are. Let me just give you this. Today's class, we're going to teach you, or you're going to get to learn what actually works, how to reignite love, and how to create the love you deserve. That's important. If you think about what it is that you're doing in love, then you get to understand what it is you need from love. So who's this for, Lori?
It's for people who are in love and who argue a lot. They find themselves arguing. Or it's for people who find that one of you always has to be right and the other one always has to surrender. Or you both argue to be right. It's for people who had a change in their life, like they had kids and the kids grew up and now they're different. They're different than who they were. And they look at the person they were with and they go, who is this person?
Yeah.
It's for people who want to be in a relationship and in a little bit of resignation about it, or it's so hard dating. Oh my God. Dating is so hard now.
Yeah. And we wanted to singles for a moment. Listen, never been more difficult in a climate where there's such division in every spectrum of society.
Politically,
Yeah.
gender wise,
Yeah.
so many things that people are, there's so many more issues than people have now. And there's so much more that ignites. We've been dealing with couples all year that one voted on the one side and one voted on the other side, and they can't come back together anymore. They can't stand the fact that they think the other one is a traitor.
Yeah.
So that might be you. We don't know.
You might be in that situation. And if you're a single and you're just looking to resolve what we call a broken picker, meaning that, you find yourself in relationship with the same person over and over again, we're going to talk a little bit about that today.
Usually a person is unavailable.
And if you're here, chances are you're looking to be able to really find that one thing to create something special with them, long lasting, that's going to endure the years. And Lori and I are up for that. Who this is not for is people that are just okay with it being like it is. If you're someone who you feel you're in a relationship right now that started out juicy and sexy and so much fun, and now things have turned into they're more like roommates, right? But you still want that juiciness. This is for you. If you're in that situation, well, this is okay being roommates. This probably isn't for you. So I want you to save time because it's going to be a 2-hour program and you might want to hop on. And if you're single and you're like, no, I'm good. I like that one person that I keep checking up with. Well, this might not be for you. All right. So let me just say this. When you stay to the end, you're going to get an amazing free gift. We want to bless you with some of the knowledge that we have. And I think you're going to like it. It's going to be so relevant to the work we were doing today. All right. Tell them how to fully be present, baby.
Get rid of the distractions, like put your cell phones on mute and maybe just push them aside a little bit. Some of us, we're addicted to ours, so we know what that's like, but ours are off right now. Also, if you have kids around or pets around that are going to jump on you, maybe just, be in a different room.
Send them outside to play. Do they do that still?
I know. And I don't,
Nick, you remember when I used to send you out to play?
and I don't know what an Xbox is.
I'll explain it to you later, babe.
I'm not with it. I don't
Oh,
know what an
okay.
Xbox is.
Some of you may or may not know us. Some of you may know us intimately, and we have been past friends. But for those of you who don't know who Lori Handlers and Michael Gibson are, we like to give you a little introduction to who we are. First of all, this is my partner, and I'm going to do this very differently than you're used to. The woman sitting next to me is not only my best friend, she's an extraordinary lover. She's an amazing author. She's written 2 best-selling books, and we're here this week at the end of the year, setting up the next year, writing our 3rd, hopefully, best-selling book.
Hopefully it'll get complete while we're here.
Yeah, we're getting there. And she's also a filmmaker. She is an award-winning filmmaker, having multiple films winning at film festivals all around the world. She is a highly sought-after.
Jeannie is in one of the films.
She is.
Jeannie O'Donnell. Jeannie's in Tantric Tourist.
She is all.
Confirmed. She's on.
You made me lose my train of thought, baby.
Sorry.
She's also. She also likes to interrupt me sometimes when I'm doing this. Oh yeah. She's also an internationally sought after Tantra teacher. She's a leader in her field. She's known as the Queen of Emotional Release and the General of the Sexual Revolution. Please welcome to this call, Mrs. Lori fucking Handler.
From behind home. Sorry I interrupted. And who is Michael Gibson?
Oh yeah.
He's a former network engineer, which I realized that I don't know what that is. Could hook things up. He hooked up things and then he made call centers and information centers and all kinds of things viable for companies like American Express and very like other companies. Gee, when he met me, I heard him speak once. He gave a talk about the talk your parents never gave you. And I thought he was an amazing speaker. And I said to him, you're really good at this. You should teach this with me. You're a really good teacher. So he's a network engineer turned sex geek. But really, I think you're a relationship geek and that you will stop at nothing to find a way to relate, to find a way to make something succeed. You're very tenacious. And you're an extraordinary lover and you're super creative. Like you created this course.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hello.
It's your birthday.
It's my birthday. Well, welcome everyone. So those are our introductions. If you would, let us know who you are in the chat, maybe what you've done in the past, what you're doing now, and you've already said where you're from, but just your name and what you've done. I see Liz's. I know Liz.
What do you mean?
Bobby and
What
Liz.
done to what?
Like done in the world. Like, we bragged on ourselves, brag on yourselves a little bit. It's okay. We want to see. Oh, look at that. Energy healer, Fletcher, engineer with over 30 years of experience. Are you a network engineer or are you?
Yeah, Fletcher, what kind of engineer? I know what some engineers do.
Nuclear engineer. Okay. We could.
I used to headhunt guys like you.
Really?
Mention LA.
Jeff and Donna Carlson in Colorado, both insurance, married 31 years, and 3 grown diamonds. Welcome. Glad to have you here. That's
Yes.
awesome.
Yay, days.
Yes. All right. So what qualifies us to teach this? Well, when Lori and I first started dating, she said something to me that kind of changed the trajectory of my life. So in an early conversation, when I asked her, I said, could we date? She said to me, yes. However, I kind of come with the Surgeon General's warning on a pack of cigarettes. And that warning is, I will disrupt your life.
And I haven't stopped.
And she hasn't stopped. And
He's in Ecuador. He's never been here.
I was never a world traveler. You could ask my son. I think the only place I'd ever been to as a young man was Mexico. And now I've literally been all over the world teaching with this fabulous woman. So what qualifies us to teach this? We live this stuff. Really, honestly, this is the stuff that really has become, it's sort of like you teach what you need to learn. I don't know if you've ever heard that saying before, but that truly is who you are in the space. And Lori has been working at this transformation stuff for something like 35 years. And before that, she was a teacher. So she's always been in the realm of teaching and molding minds and also inspiring hearts. And so that's who she is. And me, a long time ago, I was involved in youth ministries. And so I have always had a heart for working with people and teaching. I got a little verklempt there. I remember back in the days, all the lives I got to work with and got to really change. But that's something that has always been interesting to me. And one of the things that we found out about couples was we had this unique perspective on couples and what couples go through. And now as we get to learn more about what's happening with singles, we're starting to see some similar bubbling topics inside those two worlds, but they seem to be very similar. So it's incredible. So that's, I think, what qualifies us to teach this. And not only that, we've had some real success in some relationships. Claudius is a graduate. Yeah. And Janae, graduates. Love looking at your pictures, by the way. They're so amazing on Facebook. So that's, I think, one of the things that really brings us forward. So we're international facilitators. We've been around the world. Like I said, I can name at least there's 3 continents and 8 countries that we've been to so far, from Berlin to Honduras, Germany. Sorry. We've been all over the world. And what you're seeing here is one of our last Tantra festivals that we got to do in Tulum. And we actually got to host that one. It was the first time we'd ever hosted. We got to host it this time. And we had an incredible amount of people there. There's 200 people there. And it was absolutely fabulous and amazing. And this is what we'd like to show you as what's possible as a couple who works together, who is in love, who actually has a legacy that they're building together. And that's really what Extraordinary Lovers is all about. We're going to hear more about that later. Yeah.
Because we think couples
Are
are an endangered species.
That's right. In fact, I'd like to ask you to imagine what if you had an extraordinary love life? Think about that for a moment. Think about having an extraordinary love life. What would that look like? Put that in the chat if you would. Share a thought. What would that extraordinary love life include? I'm going to say it right up front. Lots of sex, right? Good. Lots of good sex. Let's put a qualifier on it.
Yeah, where you feel met.
Melanie, yeah, met you at the Talk Routine. Yes, that's right, in Florida. I remember you. Oh, joy in communicating. Yes. Thank you, Marilyn. That's so true. Yeah. Um, how about, yeah, feeling met, I think, is one of the big things. Connectedness, really knowing that this person is not only the love of your life. We say that a lot, but really your partner in life, and that your life is moving forward because you're both meeting each other on that realm. More fun. Oh, to be heard and to be seen. I love that, Claudius. Yes, absolutely. Anything else? Anybody else want to share? Oh, I had a great dream about it. Thank you, Fletcher. My focus was on what my family needed from me. I would want to create, as you do, a legacy and good sex and partnership of sweet, fun relationships. Where's that bell? Hit the bell, Lori.
What about if
Bing.
what about if you were able to repair quickly?
Mm.
Like you might have a disagreement, but the repair didn't take so long. Someone didn't puff off and what you call wall off
Yeah,
and stay walled off for so long, but you could repair right away because the goal is to return to love.
that's right. That's right. So rather than having days of disconnection and frustration and heartache, feeling alone, you feel like you're connected and you're with each other. And when those things come up, you can masterfully move through them to get to the point where now you have love again. Because it's pretty easy to fall out of love.
Yeah, we do it every few days.
I-
Have to repair.
That's right.
Quickly.
That's right. One of the things that I learned from my mentor, Terry Real, is that every relationship goes from harmony to disharmony to repair. And a couple that is very healthy can move quickly from repair back to harmony. And that's what we focus on. So instead of getting into all the therapy stuff, learning how to actually repair what needed to be repaired in the moment so that you're not carrying around the frustration, the resentment, the anger, and you can return to love. That's the goal. Yeah, repair quickly and deepen. I love it. Right. Back to the slides. So believe that couples are an endangered species,
We sure do.
don't we?
Like tigers.
Say more about that.
Marriage is just okay. First marriages, 50-ish% fail. Second marriages, 60+% fail. And third marriages, 70% fail. And I keep wondering, like, why bother after why third? I mean, like 3 spikes, you're out.
Well, now, and there's some new data that came out since 2008 to 2020. During that time frame, first marriages have dropped by 20%.
People aren't even committing to each other and are non-committal, which is leaving a lot of people who, well, I mean, I don't know. When I grew up, I knew I was going to want to be in love. I mean, aside from all the things I wanted to do, like travel and speak another language and, be creative, which I have been, all those things, I wanted to feel like there was going to be a time when I could know that I was loved and I was in love and that somebody loved me back. I think that's what most people want.
Mhm.
And yet they're not doing very well at it. That's why couples are an endangered species. People are failing.
We're going to talk about that in just a moment. Something else that I think is really important to understand if you're single on here, that 75% of people who download their dating apps, they delete them after 3 months out of frustration. They can't seem to find that person. And so,
Well, that's bullshit. And
so it's difficult. The point is what we're trying to say, couples really are an endangered species. And all of the things that are pressures against being in either a coherent, conscious relating or monogamous, whether it's monogamous or open or anything else like monogamous or even polys, the difficulties that they have are the same difficulties that are faced by monogamous couples. There's simply the communication issues that they find. They don't talk about money. They don't talk about values. They don't talk about sex, and things get lost in the water. So, and I don't want you to be one of the socks that go missing in your dryer. Okay.
Where do those socks go?
I don't know. What are some of the things that you've tried? This is a good conversation to get started with, because I'm curious, if you've been in a relationship and you've had struggles in the past, what are some things that you've tried? And we can see pictures like therapy, you've had couples counseling, maybe you went to a seminar that had something to do with relationships, you read books or something like that. Put in the chat, if you would, what are some of the things that you've tried to work on your relationship, to correct some things that maybe weren't going so well? Put that in the chat. A few books, retreats and therapy. You've done it all. Oh my God. Wow. Couples therapy, communication courses, books and videos, heart to heart. What's really funny is very few people say, oh, my parents or my grandparents. Yeah, podcasts are a big thing now. Tantra retreats. Oh, good on you. That's actually a good idea. Opening up those central spaces in our personalities and our human development. I like Tantra for that. Podcast to beautiful people in Austin, parties, therapy books. Yeah. So really what I want to communicate here is that it's not necessarily that none of those things work. It's that I find that they seem to be a little bit like there's a lot of time involved in trying to get there. And with therapy, we're going to talk a lot more about
A lot of money.
how therapy can kind of hamstring you and can be more of an anchor holding you back from moving forward than it can actually help you or be like the wind in your sails.
So maybe because it focuses on the past.
So we've got a bit of a definition for this. So an extraordinary love life is a life where seduction is a team sport. You're connected in this realm. Passion is intentional and connection is a daily ritual. This will come back around in a little bit, where we talk about this method that we've been working on for the last 6 years that will actually give you some flesh to the bones you see on the screen here. So I have a question. Why is making up so hard to do? Can anybody tell me? What are the biggest challenges you have when you get in it? It's a problem, you're having a fight, and you need to make up, but you don't know how. Why is this ego? Oh, Marilyn, thank you. Ego. Whose ego? Yours or theirs? Yours or his? Both. Ego, want to be right? No, that one. Yeah, the ego. Nervous system dysregulation. That is so, I don't want to go into that's it. There's a belt there for you. You guys know about the belt? Too tired to care.
Oh, that's resignation. I would say that's resignation.
Yeah, is that an ours? It's
a different art.
It's resignation. Would you say it's true? Or Donna, whoever wrote that? Resignation is a little bit more of it. Like, I'm tired. I don't want to deal with this again.
Yeah, not the same thing again. Well,
how many of you have ever had the always never fight? Raise your hand. If you've had the always, do you know what the always never fight is? Well, you always say that.
never.
You always do this to me every single time. The last time it happened. Yeah, you always do. Yeah. You ever had that one? Come on. Tell the truth. The always never fight will get you every time. It is a useless fight. And by the way, fighting is ordinary. Fighting is ordinary. Why we call this extraordinary lovers is because we're interested in doing something different that is a little bit extra. Lori, tell them about extraordinary.
Extraordinary is really, it's just doing a little extra. It's just like ordinary is everything we already know to do, everything that our parents taught us, everything that Hollywood taught us, everything that songs taught us. And being extraordinary means, first of all, stop abandoning ourselves and doing extra, going the extra distance for the person, even if you think they're wrong.
Right. Yeah. And there's a bit of something.
I figure like this, I chose you. So if I chose you and I was so right about it, let me do something right, and even if I think you're wrong.
Yeah. And that's an interesting perspective to come from. Consider that you chose the person you're with.
And some of the reasons I knew why I chose you, and some of the reasons were to be revealed.
Ooh, I'll bet that's the same for many of you.
Okay, this is my rant. So Walt Disney is my number one public enemy. I think he's everyone's enemy. I think at this point, I've been to 45 countries. A lot of them don't speak English. I'm in a country right now where people don't speak English, and everyone has been indoctrinated by Walt Disney. It doesn't matter. I've been in Turkey. If they speak whatever they speak in Turkey, in Turkish, they know about Walt Disney. I've been to Japan. They all know about Walt Disney. Two things. One is he made us think that we would go to a fancy dance, meet a prince and a princess, and then we'd ride off into the sunset on a white horse, and we would live and everyone together say this.
Happily ever
After. And you all were brainwashed by that. This is why I say we were hoodwinked.
Mhm.
We never received any education about being in relationship. I was trained in geography, history, biology, earth science, foreign language, debate club, cheerleading. I went to college. I studied sociology, psychology. I studied English literature. What good do all those things mean when I'm trying to connect with a person that I love? None of them work. Geometry
Didn't make us closer.
didn't make anything about anything work.
Astrophysics
Nothing.
added to our relationship in one little bit.
So why don't I know anything and I'm supposed to live happily ever after? I don't. It's an impossible task. And I'm set up to fail. And I then feel ashamed about it because I can't make it work. There's something wrong with me.
Mhm. Nothing wrong with you.
I know, but imagine I'm not the only one who feels this way.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. For me, I didn't have a white horse. I didn't have a shining armor. I wasn't a knight. And Lori didn't have a glass slipper. So how do we make this work, right? And if you could check off all the things that would make that person your person, oh, I found the one, right? The one. If you could check off all those things, you really kind of have to know what those things are ahead of time before you even meet that person. And I think Lori and I were really fortunate in how we met because we had been checking those things off for ourselves, like working on ourselves for years and years and years, and spent a lot of money. Nick knows how many times I've been to the Landmark Forum or something around that kind of world where I was always involved in some kind of transformation, and Lori as well. Lori worked for one of these transformational companies.
And you even said though, I'm not that good at relationship. Don't try to be with me.
That was
You
the first
warned
thing I
me.
told you.
So I'm just saying, but you're typical.
Yeah.
You're not that good at relationship. Neither is anybody else that as far as I could tell.
So I'm really curious. I just want to know how many of you learned relationship skills in school or in college? How many of you? You put it in the chat. Yeah. How many of you? Yeah. No. Or maybe you learned it from your parents. Where did you learn it from? In fact, Claudia, podcast with you two beautiful people. Yeah. Where did you learn? Yeah. Learn from the movies. Oh, that's right.
That's still riding in on the horse.
Marilyn learned it from Lori. Got it from the streets, parents, media. But we learned mostly from people who were just as unprepared to be in a relationship as we were. Our families, our parents, and they were doing the best they could. And yet they were not the best representatives for what a relationship probably, I would say, for most people, they were not the best representatives. Now, I happen to be one of the parents to one of the people who are on. I admit that freely, and I'm sorry.
Wait, that's the velvet now. It's a ding. Nick, he's sorry. Brandon, he's sorry. He wasn't a very good role model.
Wish I could turn the clock back, knowing what I know now, guys. I would have done things very differently. Really. Okay. So it's obvious that there is no such thing as happily ever after. And the question I asked you earlier, is your relationship struggling? And everything that you've tried, you probably tried to the best of your ability. Would you say that's true? Just go ahead and put your hand up.
Yes, absolutely.
And then the next question is, could there be a better way? Now, as Lori and I, we were in our relationship and we were starting to develop as a couple. We weren't really a couple for quite a while. In fact, we broke up for about 6 months and we were apart. And there was that space of time, I think, really had me particularly really recognize how important this woman was to me. And so as we began come together, we came back together and we started living our relationship out. We started to notice that there was something different about us. And we started to have conversations with our friends. And it led to what we now call the Extraordinary Lovers Method.
Well, I don't think we saw that there was something different about us. There was something different about us together versus any relationship you had ever been in
Yeah.
and any relationship I had ever been in. And so that's where you started to take note. Like, what was different about the way we were relating to each other from how we had been related to before?
Yeah.
And the breakup helped us like actually look at that. Like, why did we want to come back together?
Yeah. Yeah. And it was that I like how you just put that. That frame is really good because it was more about that we noticed that things worked really well in the way that we communicated with each other. And
Landmark paid off.
yeah, I told you all the money we spent there. I've done a lot of other things too. Allison Armstrong. Who knows who Allison Armstrong is?
Yeah.
Anybody? Throw your hands in the air. Nicholas, we've been to an Allison Armstrong thing, man. You better put your hand up. Yeah. So I worked with them and saw seminars and a whole bunch of other places, and Lori's influence worked as well. But I think that part of this, what we're trying to say is that we had enough life behind us of all the times where we failed at this, that we were looking at our relationship at this point going, like nothing we've ever experienced. And so we started kind of jotting down, making notes. I started looking deeply into what was working and we started sharing with our friends. Really, this started at a restaurant in Phoenix, Arizona, and where we sat down with some friends and they were having a really hard time with it. We left that meeting going, they should pay us for this. Well, they should have at least bought dinner.
We coached them through the whole dinner. It was a terrible dinner for us, but it was really good for them.
It worked out for them. They're still together.
They've been through everything that we did.
Yeah. So what we did was we put together something that we thought was a comprehensive and easy way to explain what it is that Extraordinary Lovers is. So we came up with a method and we'll share with you some of the method, but as this story is unfolding before us, something really strange, wonderful happened. It was strange and wonderful at the same time. Lori and I got engaged. And 2 years ago, October 28th, 2 years ago, Lori and I got married. So Lori and I were never going to get married. You just need to know that, okay? We were never going to get married. And one day we were at a wedding. I asked Lori to marry me and she said yes. And to this day, I'm a little shocked that you said yes. I'm really glad.
I was under duress.
If you come to Extraordinary Lovers experience, which I did also, but it was an important moment in our relating because it took us not only another step, but we moved into a different realm. And I think that's what a lot of people want. They want that newness to continue to unfold. So then what kept next was we got married. So this picture you see on the left are all the people who joined us. Some of these people you may recognize in the background. And it was a special, special time, right, Lori? Did you enjoy it? Yeah. That dress was gorgeous, by the way. And then later on that year, we find ourselves now teaching in Tulum. This again is a picture of Tulum where we were teaching around 200 people about Tantra and about relationships. And we led this Tantra festival. And it blew our minds because during most Tantra festivals, there's some kind of drama that happens, like something pops off, a teacher gets upset or, participant, something.
A couple who's running the festival gets into a fight and they can't stop fighting.
Happened more than once.
But
anyway, so that's happened before. And at the end of that Tantra festival, it felt so good because people then came up to us, both of us, and also all of our teachers came up to us and they said, this was the smoothest festival we've ever been in Tata.
No drama.
No drama. And when there was drama, you both stepped in, handled it, and it was over in moments. And it just, to me, it really felt like, wow, this is what's possible when a couple comes together in a partnership, they're connected at all the levels that can really create something powerful like that. And not to toot our own horns, it really was just an observation of what's possible, not only for us, but for you. This is what's possible for you. So we've not only done all this stuff, we've become a global movement. We have worked with newlyweds. We've worked with couples 50 plus years. Um, we've had polyamorous students. There's a couple of them in this picture here. We've had singles who are looking for love. And we've also worked with couples that were ending their relationship. Yeah.
The polyamorous people came with their multiple partners.
Right.
They either attended together with multiple partners or they did once. They came with one partner and then they came again with a different partner to make sure that everybody was on the same page.
Right. Yeah. And then we've had the experience of working with couples that were ending their relationships, but they wanted to do it in a loving way.
They wanted conscious uncoupling and that had love at the center as opposed to conscious war or whatever.
Unconscious war.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and what we mean by global movement is that we've literally been around the world teaching this. And we've actually invested the years and the money working on ourselves, and we've done it the wrong way. We've done it the hard way. And so because you're here today, you're going to get the easy way. What we're going to do today is we're going to tell you 3 secrets why relationships fail. And the first secret is why traditional couples counseling or therapy fails and what actually works. And then secret number 2, we're going to go into the key to reigniting your relationship. And then the third is to give you a ritual framework. So this is what keeps passion alive, no matter how busy your life gets. So why traditional couples counseling fails and what actually works. So let's just talk about how that couples counseling or traditional therapy finds itself mostly in your past. So you're dealing with the subject here, but then there's some past that continually gets dealt with. Maybe it's family of origin. Maybe you find yourself doing parts where, not that that's not important and it's not good, but it can be ineffective and you're not dealing with, look, this is how I want to be related to. Let me say that again. It's ineffective if we're not dealing with, let's discuss how I want to be related. Lori and I do not have a relationship. So I'm going to blow out this concept for a moment. You ready?
Yeah, I just needed a pause.
Okay. Relationship is sort of like a company, like a corporation. And if you look at a corporation, you can see that the corporation has organization. It's got a CEO, a CFO, a COO. All of these roles are in play. They know what they're supposed to do in order for the company to meet its fiduciary responsibilities, usually making a profit. So there's a purpose behind that corporation, right? Relationships are like corporations, but without the CEO, the CFO, and the roles and knowing what's supposed to happen and actually having a purpose or whether or not there's a profit to be made, a relationship is sort of like, well, we're in a relationship. And there's all these expectations that have to do with where I'm supposed to show up in this relationship and how. And the roles are very rarely ever discussed. Lori and I looked at that and went, that sucks. It's sort of like this ethereal thing out here. And you look at us and go, what a beautiful relationship you have. And I would say, no, the work of a relationship is in the relating. And we say that we're in a relating because how I'm relating to Lori in this moment is what matters. How she's relating to me in this moment is what matters.
So it's a verb.
It's a
It's
verb.
a living, breathing thing. It's not a chart, like their responsibility chart. It's really like, this is how I want to be related to moment by moment. And as I grow and change, it might change.
Yeah. It's a very important concept as we move forward. This is one of the things that I think has distinguished how we do things. And so when we're looking at traditional therapy, I think oftentimes skips over that because there's a moment at which I could address something that I didn't like. And I said, oh my God, I don't like to be related to that way. That cuts closer to what I really need from her than saying, oh, I guess your mother was like that. And that's why you did that. Or maybe it was because your father, you see where I'm going with this?
I once tried to say that to you.
Yeah. And I told her,
And you were like, don't even talk to me about it. I said, well, you're an only child. Therefore,
psychoanalyzing.
People analyzing when he wasn't having that.
How many of you have partners psychoanalyzing? Stop it. All right. So what we're looking at here, you're looking at the extraordinary numbers method. And there are three pillars to it. I'm going to say this very quickly, but there are three pillars that are above the four practices. Really, it's three pillars, four practices, and then a single extraordinary partnership. So the three pillars are self-love, partner love, and then love that manifests. These three areas of love are really how we express and receive love as human beings. So when I say love that manifests, I'm not talking about, oh, look how beautiful your relationship is. It's so beautiful. That's not what I mean. What I mean is there's something that impacts the world. So the four practices are very simply emotional clearing and repair, embodiment and presence, ritual and sacred communion, and intimacy expansion. And those produce an extraordinary partnership. And I would assert that if you're a single or you're in a couple right now and your person is next to you, that partnership, most people want that.
Can they take a picture of this?
Yeah, go ahead and take a snapshot of this.
It just dawned on me.
Can I do-
That somebody might want to
Yeah.
come back to this later, or they might want to have questions about it or want to share about
There
it.
will be a replay once we're done. I'll put this up, and so you'll have access to the replay after this. But yeah, take a picture of this. Absolutely. So one of the places that we were was in New Mexico. This is our Santa Fe crew. We had such a great time. One of the graduates said to us that they had spent 6 years in couples therapy, and what they experienced in our extraordinary lovers experience actually had them feeling each other. He said that the gentleman said, I haven't felt her in years, and now I feel like we're connected again. And I think that the experience of love is one of the things that we miss on a day-to-day basis. And it's something you could generate on a day-to-day basis.
And it's part of being extra.
Yeah, it is. So the first one is practicing emotional clearing. This is just a tool, one of the tools. Many of you have been through one of Lori's programs, or you've been to an ISTA. And if you understand what emotional clearing or emotional release is, great. If you don't, here's what it is. Actually taking energy that feels yucky inside and moving that energy.
But first, you have to notice that you are feeling that inside and give it some space.
That's right. And also creating repair in that. The second practice is that we have, and these are a set of practices, is embodiment and presence. And I like to say without presence, really, you don't have safety, you don't have connection. There's very little communication. Presence is the linchpin to connection. Another practice that Lori and I use are the ritual. Now, some of you saw us do the bubble when we first got started. That's one of the rituals that we partake in. And it
We
creates,
do it often. We don't just do it once a week.
yeah, it creates sacred connection. And that's important. And then the last thing is intimacy expansion. So learning about each other's bodies, learning how to touch one another's bodies. You know, she's not the same woman she was when I first met her 11 years ago. Her body has changed, and so has mine. And so we're always expanding that information. All right. Let's move on to secret number 2. This is a big one. And I think one of the things that Lori and I were able to identify, and it's also something that I got from one of these amazing transformational companies that I went and learned from, was a phenomenon that sabotages every relationship. And it's called the 3 R's. Okay. So the 3 R's, what are they? What are they, Lori?
Well, first of all, in the center is love.
Right.
And then something happens, and all of a sudden somebody gets the first R. They start to get resentful. So resentment is the first R. And then if it persists and the resentment isn't cleared or there's no repair, then it moves into the second R, which is resistance. And resistance is when all of a sudden I'm resisting you instead of leaning in. And then finally, the third R, which is where there's almost no repair, it's very difficult, is called revenge. And yeah, I think probably most people on here have been in that at some point or other. And I've experienced all 3. I can't imagine a human that's been in a relationship that hasn't experienced at least 2 out of the 3.
Yeah, I think, and by the way, it happens in every relationship, whether it could be brother, sister, it could be mother, son, father, it could be siblings, and then your parents, or then your grandparents. You could find yourself falling into one of these 3 R's at some point, or maybe with a company you worked with. or
Or your
maybe,
best friend or
or
whatever.
your best friend, or maybe colleague or a coworker, or maybe even a partner that you were in business with and that just fell apart, because the 3 R's are so insidious and they can take relationships out. So what I'd like to do is just take a moment and I want to engage your imagination. Okay. And I'd like to ask you the question, do you remember being in love? Do you remember what it's like? Like when you first got together, do you remember that? Do you remember how sweet it was? Do you remember how excited you were every time your phone buzzed and you got another text? Do you remember that? Do you remember what it felt like and where did you feel it in your body? When you take a moment and consider where that was happening inside your body, where do you feel that in your body? Allow that memory to reignite something there, because that's what in love, it's one thing to go, I love you. And I do, but it's another thing to say, I am in love with you. To see the distinction, to be in love is something very different. And that's extraordinary. So I'm in love with Lori.
Did I ring that bell?
Okay. I love spending time with her. I love traveling the world with her. I love having fun with her. And I love your mind. You have a brilliant mind.
Thank you.
And a great body.
Thank you.
But let's keep it rated PG.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. That's in love. And I think it's such a special experience. Well, then something happens, and it happens to us too. Something happens. And the something that happens then takes you out of love. So you move from being in love to this new place called resentment. What causes, let me ask you this, what causes resentment? And what would it feel like when it's in your body? Here's a good question. Have you ever been somewhere and you're out with friends and maybe you're at a dinner party or something social's going on, and that one person walks in and you're like, oh, resentment. Now, take your finger, go like this, and point where you feel that. Where do you feel that in your body? Point there.
You can't see it.
The example that I just gave you, if you felt something in your body, point at it. All right, put it in the chat. Where'd you point? Solar plexus.
Solar plexus.
I pointed in my belly, my solar plexus. Yeah, put it in the chat. Where did you point? Yeah, the belly, the solar plexus, right?
Some people feel it here.
The gut, absolutely. The shoulders get tense, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. So resentment is actually a physical experience. You physically feel it, which is great because that's an indicator of something that's going to help you. So once you get that, oh my gosh, I'm feeling resentment, now there's something to do about it. Resentment stacks up over time. Imagine if everybody has a personal resentment bucket, and resentment goes into that bucket over and over and over again. And the best definition for resentment that I have is when you should have said something in the moment that it would have been most impactful and could have changed the direction of what was happening in the moment. You could have said something that would have really made a difference, and you didn't.
And it doesn't matter why.
It doesn't matter why. You just held
We
it
know
in.
the reasons why, but it doesn't matter why. That you didn't say is like the first stone in the bucket. And then the wanting to say something, but waiting for the right time or finding the right words or whatever. The moment passes, the resentment is there. Unless it gets cleared, it starts stacking.
It goes in the bucket. And eventually that bucket gets so full that it transforms into the resistance bucket. And we move away from resentment into resistance. Now, resistance is a different animal. Okay. I want you to look at this real quick. Take a picture of this, if you will. What's one thing you have resentment for in your relationship right now? And what is that costing you and your partner? Great questions to take with us into the rest of this workshop. Really look, what is that one thing? You don't have to put it in the chat. In fact, I recommend you don't. Just in your own heart and mind right now. This leads to resistance. Resistance is a whole other experience. There's a push-pull to resistance. So what does resistance feel like in your body?
Like folding my arms across my chest.
Yeah. Feels like mostly feels to me like I just want space. I don't want to be around you right now. And Lori and I have had that experience. We've had those experiences. And I'm sure you have too. Like, it's just like, you don't want to be in the loving space with that person at this moment because of the resentments. And resistance is the natural progression out and away from the in love. Okay. What I'd like you to do is consider, what are you resisting in your relationship right now? And what is that costing you and your partner?
It might even be that the list of resentments is so long that now you're resisting wanting to have the conversation. Like you don't even know where to start.
Oh, been there. Yeah, I've been there.
It's terrible.
The last far is revenge. And you do not want to go here. It is one of the most dangerous places. This is where domestic violence shows up. This is where real violence happens in relating.
Yeah, I always tell a story. He came home from work one night and everything in the house was gone. He called me up. He said, I'm sitting here. I got just a phone. This is when the phones were in the wall. He said, there's no furniture in my house. There's no dog. There's no TV. And their 4 children are missing. My wife must have planned this for months. She must have planned the moving truck coming and taking everything out of our lives. I've been sitting in an empty house. This was years ago. I mean, he's happily married now to a different person, but it was devastating to him. He didn't know what to do with himself. And that was revenge planned. Planned.
Revenge is something that will take you out of the sensible adult and make you, it's crazy. We become crazy. And we do things that sabotage not only our relationship, but the relationship of our partner with their children. Right? I've seen it happen, sabotaging the relationship between the partner who's in the outs and their children. It's sabotaging ourselves so that we can attack from the victim position
And be righteous.
and be righteous about
Which
it.
is the 4th R.
It's madness. It's total madness. It's when you hear the man say, look what you made me do to you. It's madness. And that happens more often than I'd like to think about. Revenge is a dangerous place to be. You need real help, a coach, a therapist. This is when therapy actually does work, is when you're at that stage. Lori and I have a program that we call Relationship Rescue, and it's specifically designed for people who are in the revenge circle. Okay. So how do we see this, acknowledge it, and go, what do I do about this? Right. So first off, where are you? Are you in love? Are you in resentment, resistance, or revenge? Okay. Take a moment and consider where you are right now in your relating. And I don't expect you to put it in the chat, but to search your own heart and to feel into that. Where are you? Now, are you ready for a tool? This is one of my favorite tools. Lori is going to walk you through what is called the witness. Now, remember, this relates directly to the first R, resentment. When you experience that resentment, that feeling that you pointed at the very first time, this is how you can cut this off. This tool is really powerful. So I'm going to step away for a moment and Lori's going to take over. All right.
Yeah. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to sit straight in your chair and close your eyes, or sit straight on the couch. Don't touch each other if you're together with someone. Just be in your own space. And if it's okay with you, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. And I'm going to ask you to focus in on your breath. The fact that you're breathing in and out. Take a little bit more air than you normally would, and let it a little bit more air than you normally would as you exhale. And let yourself continuously keep breathing. Slow it down a little bit. So you're taking deep breaths and you're exhaling deeply. And as you breathe, let your awareness now go down into your body, down to where you sit, what's called your first chakra. So you're going to put your awareness down on your butt cheek, your anus, your anal sphincter muscles, your tailbone, and you're going to look to see what's happening there, what's happening in your body there. Are you cold, tight, or loose? Do you have any, do you feel blocked there? Do you feel nothing? Sometimes people just feel nothing there. This area has to do with safety and security and conversations that were happening when you came into the world. Has to do with your family of origin, your country of origin, the decade you were born in, and the things that are happening. Now, crazy things happened in our world this morning. So some of you may just feel really tight in your bottom there because all of a sudden the world became strange. I'm not going to go into what happened, but if you know, you know. And just take note and a snapshot of what's happening in your first chakra. Are you tight, loose, hot, cold, numb, nothing, pain, what have you? And take note of it. Take a snapshot. And then let go of that. And we're going to move up to this second chakra called the sacral chakra, or it's the area of sex in the body. And just notice, it doesn't matter what gender you're in, notice what's happening in your sex. Do you feel tight, loose, hot, cold? Maybe aroused because I said to look at the sex area. Maybe unaroused, nothing. Whatever's happening there for you, take note of it. This center has to do with pleasure and pain and the memories of pleasure and pain that have happened in your life. And often pain stacks up and lasts longer in the memory bank than pleasure. So just notice what's happening in your sex area and the sex chakra. Take a snapshot. Now bring your awareness up to your belly solar plexus. This is your third chakra, your esteem center, and look to see what's happening there. Oftentimes that's where people have a blockage, like the lower chakras or something's happening there that you can either feel or not feel. And then the uppers are in different category. So look to see what's happening in your belly solar plexus. Maybe that's where you pointed when we talked about resentment. And just notice, are there any resentments there? What sensation do you feel there? This area has to do with self-esteem, self-worth, power, experiencing feelings, and just see what's going on there. And also take note if your mind is chattering at you. If your mind is saying, oh, you should feel this, you shouldn't feel that, your mind is trying to should you and tell you how you should be, but that's not really how you are. And now, with your eyes still closed and with telling the mind, thank you for letting it go for a minute, bring your awareness up to your heart and look inside the heart area and see what's happening there. Most people have one of two sensations there. They either feel weighted down and heavy in the heart, like, oh my God, this world, what am I going to do about it? Or these kids, or this relationship. What am I going to do? I feel so heavy down. Or they feel light. They usually feel like their heart has wings. Kind of feel like that when we're newly in love, like my heart could fly. So which is it in your fourth chakra, in your heart center? What's happening there? Bring your awareness now to your throat chakra. Your mind is definitely having some issues. Everybody swallow and notice how you feel about swallowing. Was it easy or hard? Did you feel obstructed or did it feel loose and lubricated? What's happening in your throat area? This area has to do with speaking your truth, sharing your thoughts, your ideas, your creativity, or not. Sometimes people just withhold or they don't tell the truth. So what's happening in your throat chakra? Take a snapshot. And now bring your awareness up to the third eye center, the eyebrow center, it's called. So right between the eyebrows and a little bit raised, a little bit up from the eyebrows. This is your third eye with your eyes closed. What's happening in there? Do you see only darkness? Or do you see swirlies, colors, things going around? What's happening in yours? Maybe you're a person who can see beyond. You can see an altered state of reality. Take a snapshot and take note of what's happening in your third eye. Are you someone who sees only what you want to see? Or are you somebody who can see the big picture? And now finally look up and around your head, like as if you had a halo. Do you feel like there's an opening up and around your head and that you can connect to the whole rest of the cosmos? Or do you feel like there's a lid on you and take a snapshot there, or a cloud maybe around your head, or raindrops falling on your head? Take a snapshot of what's happening there and get that whole picture. Sorry, I'm having trouble with my throat chakra. So, what I want to ask you to do when you look at the whole thing, what are you feeling in your body? And how can you reference it when you want or need to tell somebody how you're feeling, what's happening? And notice one more thing, which Michael would bring up and talk to you about, called the whoosh. If someone were to say something to you that their tone was off or that you didn't agree with, and you felt this whoosh of emotion, where would you feel that? And just notice where in your body that sensation would occur. This is how we start to tell the truth about where we are and how we are. I'm feeling like this in my heart. I'm feeling like this in my gut. I'm feeling like this in my sex. I notice my ass is slammed shut. I notice my throat. I can't get the truth. I don't want to be able to speak to you. Whatever it is. This is how you know how to talk.
Wow. Thank you, Lori. By the way, it's important to note that you just did Tantra. It's just simply that. Taking a look into yourself and seeing what you're feeling, reconnecting from what is often disconnected. And you did Tantra with probably one of the greatest Tantra teachers alive. I'm biased, of course, but yes, exactly. Oh, thank you, Lori. It's amazing.
Welcome. That's my jam.
Coming back to the room here, when you think of what you're feeling, a lot of times there's
experience. But I'm correcting you because
I say that a lot, don't
I don't want you to think about what you're feeling and what you feel what you feel it.
I? I'm always a student.
Thoughts are like what the mind is making up about it. It's giving it meaning.
Well, when you consider what you're feeling, there is a moment of time that hits your body when the resentment shows up. We call that is the whoosh. Again, Terry Real is one of the great mentors that I have, teaches about the whoosh. And the whoosh is a feeling you get in your body. So let's say, for instance, your partner has a tone. Anybody have a tone?
I never have.
So if you know you have a tone, you don't have to raise your hand. You can nod your head a little bit.
Everyone else.
Everybody has a tone, right? But that tone right there is like, hey, wait a minute, what's going on? So what happens is we start to prepare ourselves for a battle. And it's because we felt something, this whoosh happened, and then we don't have a mechanism to go back and look and see what happened. And that's what you just had an opportunity to do, was to take a moment and to look through all the chakras in the body, to look in places where you might have felt something. And so what we advocate is that you acknowledge the whoosh. There are times where Lori might have a tone. It's very rare anymore, but she'll have a tone. Like this morning, you had a tone? Oh, the whoosh. And she'll go, oh, whoosh. And I go, yeah, just a second. Let me figure this out. And I go in and I look to see where I felt the whoosh. And then what I do is I do three things. I analyze it, I interrogate it, and then I communicate it. So I analyze, I interrogate, and then I communicate. Very simply, I do what Lori just did. I go through my witness and I analyze. What did I feel that in my body? And then I'll interrogate it. What did it really mean? And then I'll say, okay, I felt the whoosh. I felt it here in my heart space. I don't know what it means. Can you tell me what that tone was about? And then I communicate or I ask the question, hey, I'm curious. What did that mean? So that she can tell me. Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's a tone. I'm sorry. Do you see how that could have turned into a week-long fight? Instead, it was oh, okay. I felt something. I'm not sure what it is. Can you tell me what you meant? Curiosity is one of the greatest things you can use to to avoid a confrontation. Just becoming curious. What did you say? What you just said was this. Whoosh. I felt this about it. What did you mean by that? Because too often what we do is, well, you just said this, and this means that, and that means you're a bad person or some version of that. Anybody relate to that? Ever been on the other side of that? Yeah. Crazy. That's one of the great tools that you can use in life when you're experiencing the whoosh, and I highly recommend you use that. Let's move on to, I've already shared all that with you. Oh, look, I even had a graphic. I'm so excited. I had a graphic for this. So the witness is a tool that helps you discover your truth. This was one of the people that came to our ELE in Denver, and she uses this tool. She's a branding expert, and she had quite a bit to say about it, about the witness tool. Went from feeling small and unclear to feeling supported, and it's really helped her embody herself in her life. And so now she was single. She's still single.
No, she has a new love interest in her life. She's really excited. She said that her picker was broken and it's not broken anymore. And she has a new love interest. She's really excited about it. Plus her business is jumping.
Yeah, it's doing great. So in secret number 3, this is one of the reasons why couples fail or relationships fail, is because they don't have rituals. They don't have ways to keep their passion alive. And they allowed the busyness of life to sort of take over this part of their relationship that should really be what Lori and I consider to be sacred. It's so important to have rituals. And so one of the rituals that we start with is the bubble. So a cute little story for you. When Lori and I were first dating, Nick, you probably remember this. Lori and I, when we first started dating, I invited her to come on my podcast. I had a podcast.
Brandy was the technician.
Yeah, Brandy, you were there. This whole thing. And Lori and I were back and forth, and we were flirting with each other. I think we had a glass of wine or something, and we were going back and forth. After the podcast was over, we got together and we talked. And we were talking about what is going on here. It's kind of one of those conversations, like, what is this all about? And then Lori says, well, look, before we do that, let's make a bubble. And I went, a bubble? What? She goes, just humor me. She's from New York. Just humor me. And I go, okay, I'll humor you. So she shows me this thing called the bubble. And it has changed our lives. In fact, after that night, I became the one that's like, hey, can we make a bubble?
And for everything, even though the comments happens. Even in our staff meetings.
It's great. So tell them about the bubble.
So what the bubble does is it creates sacred space. It's a gesture, a physical gesture that is a ritual that makes space around you and me, and it pushes the rest of the world away. It just makes us in a space. If we're in a room filled with people, or if we're by ourselves, we make the bubble. When we're finished, we
Pop the bubble.
pop the bubble. Yeah.
So how many of you know how to do the bubble?
Some do.
Well, for those of you who don't, we're going to show you how to do the bubble. Okay. And so it's basically this. So what we'll do is we'll put our hands together in prayer pose. We'll lean into each other.
Touch foreheads.
Okay. And then our left hand will go up. And we'll just trace each other this way.
And over ourselves.
Well,
And then over the other.
And then we go in the back and touch hands in the back so that we close off the bubble. So as Lori said, this is one of those things that really helps us to create sacred space. And if you're going to have a difficult conversation,
Or if you're going to make loud,
yeah,
or if you need to have a sacred space with whoever you're with, you make a bubble, and it just changes things. It makes it special.
yeah. And if you have the whoosh, right, and you need to use the tool, you could then say, hey, I just had a wish. Can we make a bubble? Let's talk about it. That's also a good place to use that. Um, so to give you some basics on how to create your own, because I advocate for really being creative in your relating. This is what the extra is all about, is the method that we use, or the framework that we use for creating our own rituals, is called USC. So it needs to be unique to you. It needs to be unique to you, simple, and something you could do often, right? And it needs to be connecting. In other words, it's got to connect the two of you in some way that will create this sacred space for yourself. We love the bubble. You can create your own. I don't have a bunch of slides on this because it's something that it's really easy to explain. But again, unique. What would be unique? Would it be a handshake, or, some people high five? So there are all kinds of different ways to get yourself into a sacred space, and you can create that yourself. Now, we have a recommendation around some of the timing around doing rituals. The timing around rituals is making sure that you have something in place as a couple on a regular basis. So the USC framework is really embodied in some of the rituals that we've created. The first one is called micro rituals. Take 5 to 15 minutes and just connect. Do you know, when you get up in the morning, one of the things that Lori and I do, stand face to face, we'll breathe, we'll look into each other's eye. We haven't made a bubble, and we'll just say, I love you, and hold each other in that for 5 to 15 minutes. Quietness. Or one of us will climb into bed with the other and we'll just cuddle and we'll say, I love you. So that's something that you do on a daily basis. Another would be weekly devotional time, like taking an hour of intentional intimacy once a week. You have to put it on your calendar. And then inside of that, maybe you make a bubble on your devotion time, and then sit with each other and really understand each other. Connect, either you could be sexually, you could be emotionally connecting, but take that hour at least once a week. Do that. We also have other ones that we do on a quarterly basis and a yearly basis. We actually are in a ritual right now that we do once a year, and that is to look at the past year and to look at the year coming, and to make an assessment of the last year, and then really to create goals and dream into our next year. What do we want to accomplish next year? Who do we want to impact in a positive way? So if you just had weekly devotional time, right, you think you could have some success reuniting that sexiness, reigniting your love life? Maybe. All right. So those are the 3 secrets why relationships fail. So let me ask you a question. How many of you could use some help with your relationships, with your relating right now? And I say that because this is a workshop that I think we've given you some good stuff here, but I think
so much more.
There's so much more. And I want to share with you, if I may, because Lori and I put together a special offer for all of you who've joined today. It's a special offer. And if you have just a few more minutes, it won't take very long to do it. Just let us know in the chat. Say yes, or yes, I'm up for that. I'd like to hear a little bit more. Please let us know. Ah, great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
What if somebody said no?
Nobody's saying no.
Okay.
Don't make me answer that question. Laura, you're terrible. Oh, I love it. You're funny. You like to play the devil's advocate, don't you? All right. So we have something called the Extraordinary Lovers Method that we created the Extraordinary Lovers Experience from. The Extraordinary Lovers Experience is a 4-day immersive program where you get to pull yourself out of your life, whether you're single or you're in a couple, and you actually get to go through the 3 pillars or the 3 thresholds of love. The first one, again, being self-love, partner love, and then love that manifests. And it's an experience. It's not just something that we go and we teach you a bunch of tools. You get to use the tools, you get to work with the tools. And we have found it to be very impactful in couples' lives. They continue on having much more success in their love lives. So the Extraordinary Lovers Method, we're going to use the 3 pillars. We're going to show you the 4 practices. And it's not just 4 practices. It's 4 categories of separate practices. And then we're going to show you what it looks like to have extraordinary partnership. And so I just want to let you know, we work with newlyweds. We work with couples. Yeah. We work with the polyamorous students. Again, singles looking for love. And if you're looking to end your relationship, you work with love. So we have a short video that I'd like to share with you about Brianna and Blake, who came to our Santa Fe Extraordinary Lovers. And this is a short explanation. What brought you to the Extraordinary Lovers Experience weekend?
Extraordinary teachers.
Absolutely true. Yeah. This body of work that I've been watching Michael and Lori create over the past 6 years, but diving into really into the depths over the last 4 years, this co-creation is what brought me here.
And I'm a little newer to being exposed to your and Lori's work, but I've loved everything I've seen so far. And I'm just in that, give me more. Can't get enough.
Yeah. And did you have any apprehensions before coming?
Absolutely not. Because truly I would follow Michael and Lori anywhere.
Yeah, I didn't have any apprehensions either. Sacred sexuality and relationship coaching and personal growth is totally my cup of tea. And I'm immersed in this world already and doing this work for other people too. So as a facilitator and a guide. So for me, it was just thirst and interest to expand my repertoire.
And with that said, one of the things that brought me here is that I am always curious to see what's going to open up when I'm in new spaces with new people. Being here with Blake was a totally different experience than taking the online course. Although the online course is brilliant, I really wanted the in-person experience of being here, being with community and seeing what evolved and transpired. And there's always something more to uncover, right? So where I was 3 months ago is not where I am now, answering the same questions and looking at them through an entirely different lens of what I'm experiencing in the here and now.
Well said.
So what did you think of the workshop?
Juicy, informative, practical, fun, a real icebreaker. When I was really feeling into the room, as I said, I'm not really so new to this work, but when I was feeling into the room and feeling people who chose to be here who were a little more at their edge and watching them crack and thaw and giggle and melt into their own pleasure and expansion was really beautiful to witness. And I also just found it just really delivered. It gives you a lot of really useful stuff to take into your relationships, to take home to the bedroom, to even practice with yourself that everyone can use.
I love the flow of the deepening of self-love and then being able to weave like the expansion that occurs from spending significant amount of time on self-love, even though that's part of my practice in a big way already, being able to focus on that before opening up. Like the entire room shifts. The entire room that comes in love with themselves on day 2 to be able to talk about what it's like to bring that to partnership is inspiring. I am also incredibly inspired by the facilitators. And I'm not just saying that because I love them so much. The way that Michael and Lori facilitated this weekend was deep and beautiful and penetrating and vulnerable. And one of my favorite parts is watching the dance between the two and feeling the vulnerability that emerges and getting to witness this love, like this extraordinary love, and seeing it modeled, even with being so close to them, it has created so much more of an understanding and insight into what's happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, and you get to see behind the scenes quite a bit.
Good.
What is one thing that you're going to take into life because of this course?
I think the big takeaway that I'm sitting with today is ritualizing everything and really bringing that much more intention to even the things that feel easy, like our lovemaking, for example. It's like, we don't need to do these practices every time, but if we did, it would just
How much more is possible?
How much more is possible? Right. There's an answer.
Yeah. Because actually, even like the past 3 days, the connection and the depth and where we've been going with each other and things that
the connection, the depth, and the sheet. Yeah. It's been epic. But yeah, there's a desire coming away from this weekend to just sanctify, like even the things that we would do every day with ease and flow. So, well, we had the ease and flow part. Let's just bring it up a clip.
Well, the word that comes to me is possibility, not just for this relating, but really all of the relating that I do in my life and really for what's possible for my clients. So, and taking so many of these tools into, like, I'm thinking about so many of the couples that I'm working with and just these tiny tweaks of what we've already been working with and really bringing it forward. I consider myself a possibilitarian, and my mind has just been blown about what is possible for the world, actually, what's possible for the world.
That's what we're about. So if you can have some, and you guys really are making this available, digestible, understandable, and fun and easy. It's not this far out thing that people are like, oh, I'm going to go to this wild workshop and it's going to totally blow up my life. Like, no, it's actually just going to enhance what you're already doing, what you already know, and give you the tools to take it into a really beautiful expanded lens.
And this is something that I've really been thinking about as I'm preparing to share, is that I feel like I can share this with everyone. It's not so edgy as some of the work that I love to put myself into, but I know is edgier for some couples that are ready to deep dive into something that is going to possibly disrupt their life. Although taken, really, I mean, this will disrupt lives, because when I'm paying attention to these skills and these tools and these experiences and these rituals, it's the practice. It's like the low weights, high repetition.
We almost need a better word than disrupt. I think upgrade is the word for it. To come to a weekend like this, get upgrade, at least get a bunch of upgrades. And
I was going to ask you, what would you say to somebody who's considering Tom when you really illuminated me? And that's something I would say to somebody. Well, what would you say to somebody who's on the fence and doesn't know, should I come to an Extraordinary Lovers weekend?
If you want to upgrade your relationship,
Yeah.
go.
I'd say the same thing. And maybe to add to that is, you only live once. At least most people believe that, right? Do you really want to just settle for the love and sex life that you've always had? Or do you want to upgrade it? It's never too late. Bring it up. Feel your joy, feel your bliss.
Yeah, it feels like it's really about living and living into love fully.
Reach you. You'll fall to so much. To make you knuckle. Celebrate.
They had an incredible experience in Santa Fe. Now, we're doing this again, the same program. We're going to be doing this February 19th through the 22nd in Phoenix, Arizona. It's 4 days. We have a chef that's going to be coming. We don't have lodging for you, but we do have a chef, and there's plenty of places around there. Normally, what people are paying for per person for this is normally $34.97 per person. If there's two of you, the value goes up to $69.94. Lori and I thought about this. We're like, okay, well, that's great. We could give people the Extraordinary Lovers experience. That's an important part of it, but that's not always going to get you where you need to go, especially when you're looking at transforming a relationship that you've been in for many, many years, right? So we thought about, what else do you need to make sure you have the love you deserve? Right. And then the second thing we came up with really was a journey, an Extraordinary Lovers journey. And so you want to talk about the journey?
Yeah. So the journey is an experience of going on together with your community and continuing on for a period of time, so that when the bumps come, or when all of a sudden you didn't remember to use a tool or say a wish or do the bubble or whatever it is, that you can speak about it clearly and directly with the people. Here's some people who are on with us right now. You can experience it with people who are with you and continue on. So we added a journey to it, and we added
6 weeks with us on calls that are going to help you to integrate everything that you got in the Extraordinary Love experience for the weekend. That was an important part of it. And we thought about, okay, well, what we normally charge for that is $2,497 for the 6 weeks. That's what we normally charge. You're not going to pay that. But if you put those two numbers together, you get the Extraordinary Lovers experience, 4 days, and the Extraordinary Lovers 6-week journey. The total value here is $59.94, $94.91 if you're a couple. Okay. Now, here's what's really important. Lori and I sat back and went, okay, that's great. They're going to have the ability to get on 6 calls, but you and I both know, right? One of the first things that happens when people go back into their lives is
they're just disoriented. They fall back into the same old patterns. They can't remember all the stuff that they learned.
And oftentimes what happens is they get stuck on a certain practice, and that practice lead them to an even bigger blow up or an even bigger problem. So what we decided was, we said, what if we gave them an hour post retreat coaching, private coaching, where we can go in and find out, okay, what didn't land for you? How can we help you to either integrate this or to create something that's actually going to work for you and your relationship? And so we added that in because we felt not only is 6 weeks integration important, but we really want to be on your side as your personal coaches, giving you what you need, because there may be a direction that you need to turn a little bit. Maybe a 1% is all it takes to get you to Hawaii.
Maybe one person is really holding on to a lot of resentment,
Yeah.
and it's really hard for them. Like they can't get out of the muck of it.
Right.
And so we have to help them like express the resentment and get over it so that they can be back in love again with their person.
Yeah. So it's important that we include some of the things. And the last thing that we decided we wanted to include, because we're like, okay, we've got that laid out. The 1 hour private coaching is $597. That's what we charge for an hour. That's the value that you can see there. And the total value here goes up to $65.91. There was one more thing that Lori and I decided that was super important. You've got a 4-day immersive experience. You've got 6 weeks to really integrate it. You've got a
community.
with your community, the one that was in the workshop with you. And then you've got a private coaching session. What else is there? Well, guess what? There is a community that Lori and I put together, Lori's Inner Circle. And that's to make sure that we connect them to the community that's already thriving and exists in Lori's Inner Circle. And so that's the last thing that we want to give to you. So what we're going to give you is 3 months free, included with this entire package. And when we go into the Love You Deserve package, this is what you get: the 4-day Extraordinary Lovers experience. Again, that price point. Extraordinary Lovers 6-week journey, $24.97 value, a $597 value for the private coaching session, plus $149 value of 3 months free access to Lori's Inner Circle. We didn't even go into how much is in there. All of Lori's movies are in there. All of her 15 years of the Sex and Happiness podcast. Lori was a podcaster long before Joe Rogan. I'm just saying, for a long time. So the total value here is $6,740 or $10,000 if you're a couple. So if all this did was finally gave you a repeatable path to return to love after any breakdown, would it be worth it? And
I always ask them, what's the divorce cost? It's
Yeah.
much more than that.
yeah, if you could find the real safe expressing, would it be worth it? And if this gave you the tools, the right tools to reignite your passion, and like I said, not having to go to therapy for years and spending thousands of dollars so that you could build a love that lasts, would it be worth it? And then if it gave you the sex life you deserve, would it be worth it? Now, there's some things that Laura and I could teach you about touch and that kind of stuff. We didn't go a lot into that today, but we do have some expertise in that realm, and we'll be able to teach you some of those things. So Lori and I had 2 choices when we first started doing this. The first option was just keep offering the retreat and hoping that couples, could figure out the integration on their own. And we saw that it didn't work. And the other choice, which is the one we chose, was to create something holistic, a full transformational journey that includes support and practices and all the things to help you create the love of a lifetime. And so that's what we did. So what's extraordinary love worth to you? Right? So John and Christine have been together 46 years. Can you imagine how much money they spent on therapy per month or coaching, or how many? They've been to 4 of our programs.
They've been to everything we've ever offered, and they keep coming.
Yeah.
And we spend 4th of July weekend with them.
Yeah. And also, what does a divorce actually cost? I mean, it's too much.
Too much.
So how much would you pay to have the love you deserve? Well, this is the true cost of inaction. And it isn't a cost. It's an investment in your love life. And so here's what's going to happen. So you can see why it's worth around 10,000 plus for a couple. And that's not what you're going to pay. So here's the deal we have for you: the 4-day intensive, the 3 bonuses, all of that for $21.97 per person. That's all you're going to pay per person. Now, we have this price for you because you're on the class today. And you can go to checkout.extraordinarylovers.com if you're like, I'm in, I want this, let's go, I'm ready to go. That's great. But you have 2 choices, right? The first choice is you do nothing. Stay in the same pattern. Use what we taught you here today But if you keep fighting or keep feeling like roommates and nothing changes, maybe that's your first option. Or your second option is to say yes, yes to this proven path and yes to a powerful container. And this has worked for thousands like you. So yeah, and you could definitely do that. You can wait it out till you hit another bump. Or just a few months from now, you can wake up more in love than you've ever been. And so again, February 19th through the 22nd is when we're doing this in Phoenix. You can get started right now. Check out .extraordinarylovers.com. We also have a 30-day support guarantee. So after your 6 weeks is up, after that journey is up, you have another 30 days where if you don't feel like you've grown in passion, connection, communication, and these are measurable, oh my God, this has really happened for me, then we'll give you 3 sessions of couples coaching at no extra cost. And it's because we just don't want you to get inspired. We want you to actually be transformed. It's really important to us that we make a difference in the world.
We actually think this civilization is dependent on it.
Amen.
It's more than
Yeah.
more than just you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's a payment plan available. So when you go to checkout.extraordinarylovers.com, you'll find that. The real question is how long you want to keep living disconnected, unfulfilled, and alone. Even in your relationship, I remember I spent a lot of years feeling alone in a relationship. Or is it time to do something different? Because if it is, this is it. Go to checkout.extraordinarylovers.com and get yourself set up. Now, stop everything. You don't get to leave until you have her gift. So we created a 3 hours quiz, and what it'll do is it'll help you to find out where you are in the place of the 3 R's. You might be in love, or you might be in resentment, or resistance, or revenge.
We hope you're not a revenge.
If you're in a relationship and your relationship is with you right now, your partner is with you right now, take it separately. But talk about it. But it'll give you access to some really important information about how to overcome the 3 R's in different ways. There's a different way to overcome resistance, and there's a different way to overcome revenge. But this quiz is for you. And so do you have any questions? Are we on?
We have 1 minute.
Oh my God, we have 1 minute. Jeff and Donna, we're sorry to see you go.
Thank you for coming.
So if you have questions, this is where we're going to take your questions. So let me do this. Let me remove the spotlight and just say, oh, look at everybody. If you have questions, go ahead. Right now is the time to ask.
And
Fletcher.
Well, first I want to say thank you, Michael and Lori, but I already have something scheduled. Do you have this course scheduled again in 2026?
we do.
Yes, we do. There's another course happening in Philadelphia. May, what are the dates?
I don't have it right now.
It's in May.
Fletcher, can we get it to you?
We send you that in an email.
Okay. Put it on my schedule. I would have, if I would have known about this probably 3 weeks ago, I would have signed up. Philadelphia is closer to me. Oh yeah, it's just a short plane ride.
We'll send you a link.
May
Okay.
14th to the 17th in
Oh,
Philadelphia.
May 14th through the 17th. Look and see if that works for you.
Yeah, I think I can make it work.
Wonderful.
We'll send you a link so you can go and register there.
We're so glad you joined us today and that you have this interest. As a single, it will work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So I can go ahead and sign up for the Philly.
Yes.
Yes. I'll send you the link directly, Fletcher, right after.
Okay, perfect.
It's 8:03 where we are. So I acknowledge that we're past time here, but we still want to give you, if you have a question, go ahead and yes,
Yeah.
let's hand it.
I have a question. How does singles experience this workshop? How does that work?
Well, today, what happens is
It's not Janae, it's Melanie.
Oh, Melanie, I'm sorry. I couldn't.
Okay.
Sorry. Melanie, how it works is that they learn from each other. It's really good for singles to be around some couples that are working stuff out. And it's really good for couples to be around some singles who want to be in a relationship and are afraid because they've had failure after failure after failure. So at first, we thought it wouldn't work. And maybe some of the singles would be after some of the couples, like there would be like flirting. And so we've made some ground rules and whatever. And so they actually end up learning from each other and doing really well and being really supportive together.
if you remember from the video with Brianna and Blake, they talk about so much of the work that we do in the self-love portion. That I think right there is the most important part of singles learning not only what their values and their boundaries are, but also really how to engage in love self. And then if you add on top of that, witnessing what happens, the miracle that happens when a couple who comes in, you could tell they ain't having it, right? But when they leave, they're in love. It is so inspiring. And it really does give you like, this is possible. And if we could just learn some things, some simple skills that we could take into a new relationship that are easy to teach this new person who's coming in to share life with us.
Gives them hope.
It gives you
Gives them a lot of
such a-
hope. Yeah. So at first we had marketing people who told us to keep them separate.
Mm.
And we did that for a while.
Marketing people are dumb. No,
And then
I don't mean that.
No, and they realized that that didn't work. That wasn't as good for people. Like they needed their own culture and society together. They might as well see what it's like to be together and learn from each other.
Yeah.
So
Great question. Thank you. Love to see you there. Anybody else? Jeannie, do you have a question or? So good to see you.
If you could email me information on the May one. So I guess you just sign up in the same way, I guess, if you wanted.
I'll send that out to everybody. Everybody will get a link.
we will,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeannie, were you trying to put
Okay, I was going to say something. Of course, I'm dying to take the course and dying to be part of the community. But I've had this experience in Maryland. And so I think Satya, my partner, longtime partner, is retiring from his job. And I want to give him space around that. So I cannot do this. I want to do it right away. But I think, no, after he retires in March, we wonder what the next what the next step is. I'm just like letting go of my fears about, oh no, moving but what's next? That's a big thing. And I think, no, I want to give my partner space to retire and have his retirement parties and all that stuff. And I want to take part. So I just want to tell you, I will.
Thank you. Yeah.
Awesome.
And you know what, Jeannie, it may really help at the right time. It may really help the two of you to create and structure your whole new life together and new experience together.
I think it will. I mean, I've been.
And you've done a
dying.
lot, both of you. Both of you have done lots and lots of work. And this is new. This is really new. So if we can support you, we'd love to. You know that.
I would like to do it, and I'm planning on doing it.
Wonderful.
And we're going to have another one in Phoenix. Phoenix is our home base and always will be. And you're moving back, I hear.
Well, Satya would like to move back to Phoenix. I would just like to be part of your community, wherever it is. And I'll tell you, Baltimore is chilly in the winter. It's very cold, actually, really cold. And you live in a drafty old house.
Oh, no.
So anyway, we have a vision for Phoenix.
Well, I want to thank you once again for joining us for this webinar. It really does make a difference for us to be able to speak to somebody in doing this, and the somebodies that we get to speak to this time around was really
awesome.
amazing. Thank you for your
Thank
questions.
you so much.
So we're going to call it for now, and we look forward to seeing you in class sometime, somewhere. And again, I'll send you those links, and we'll get you all connected. So thank you so much.
It's my birthday.
Bert.
Thank you.
And it's being here with you all.
Yes. Happy New Year and happy new relationship.